I fucking love tacos. Or at least I used to. There was this taco truck that used to drive around the city where I lived at. It would park in busy parts of the city during the day and serve its delicious taco goodness to those in the area. I won't lie, the truck was sketchy as hell. It was one of those old school ice cream trucks from back in the day that had been converted into a food wagon. Its mint green paint peeling off, exposing decades of rust and other weather-related damage. Fixed to on top was a sheet of plywood with a badly drawn taco on it with the words, "One for the road." So yeah, it was sketchy, but it was so delicious. One night after work, I was driving home when I saw it had parked on the corner. This was a lucky break for me as I was exhausted and didn't feel like cooking myself dinner when I got home. I found a parking spot near the truck and went to order my food. I ordered free taco grandes with a burrito carne with extra guacamole. All that deliciousness, and it only cost me $10. I grabbed my bag of food from the old guy who was working in the truck and hopped into my car. Once buckled up, safety first kids, I dug out my burrito to eat on the way home. I was in heaven. That burrito was so damn delicious in that I didn't even get mad when a huge glob of guacamole fell out of it and onto my white t-shirt. I scooped it up with my finger and plopped it in my mouth, finished the burrito as I pulled up into the driveway, so I crumbled the wrapper up and tossed it into the bag. Hopping out of my car, I hurried inside with the giddiness usually reserved for children on Christmas Day. Depositing the bag into the kitchen on the kitchen table, I went to the fridge to grab a cold beer and turn on my iPod. To my delight, I had a brand new episode of this awesome horror podcast. I was like all queued up and ready to go. I listened to the sultry voice of the female narrators spin her yarn of horror and dread as I absolutely demolished those tacos. In a manner into which I ate them could possibly be a horror story of itself. I thought of how those poor upsetting tacos were thrust into my ravenous gaping maw and how spittle-covered debris hurtled over my clean surface of the table. Yeah, it kind of sounded cool in my head, but I'm not a writer. The story ended, and I finished up my beer, cleaned up after myself, and went to watch some TV with my glorious meal already a tasty memory. My life went back to normal after that. Work, sleep, repeat, etc. For the next few days, until I awoke one morning with an odd sensation in my throat. I figured that I was coming down with something and brushed it off as the beginning of a summer cold. I got up, showered, and did my whole morning routine, and off to work I went. In the passing days, it went from a minor annoyance to a constant discomfort. I thought about getting myself checked out, but I didn't have any health insurance, and there was no way I could afford a trip to the doctor. So, like any other pig-headed dude in his early 30s, I decided to tough it out a bit longer just to see what would happen. As you could guess, that was a big mistake. As time passed, I got used to the discomfort, and it kinda got pushed to the back of my mind. Quite some time later, I was sitting on the kitchen table, drinking my second cup of coffee while reading the paper, and when I saw an article with a picture of the taco truck with the headline. It read, "Local taco truck, health violation on wheels." I was stunned as I read the list of violations. Broken coolers containing food stored at oversafe temperatures, dirty utensils that look like they have never been cleaned, food left to set on counters. The violations went on and on and on. I couldn't believe that I used to get my food from there. When they mentioned vermin infestation, I began to gag, not figuratively either. I got this strange sensation in my throat and began choking. I rushed over to my sink and spit out. I expected a glob of pigment or even some vomit, but what I did not expect was a tiny 6 brown-legged bug that was sound and was crawling around the sink. A cockroach. A goddamn cockroach! And as realization hit of what happened to me hit, I began gagging again, leaning into the sink, dry heaving. I felt a tickling sensation as more of those bastards skittering and crawling up my throat, only to be ejected by my mouth into the sink. I can't tell you how long I stood there, crying like a baby that wants its mommy as more of these things spewed forth from my mouth. When the horror finally ended, I only did the sensible thing I could do. I puked right into the sink and all over the baby cockroaches that hadn't crawled out of the sinklet yet. Feeling violated, I rushed to the bathroom and brushed my teeth until my gums bled. Then I downed an entire bottle of mouthwash. As I looked at my wretched reflection in the mirror, I pieced together what must have happened. One of the meals I got from the taco truck must have had a roach in it, and that son of a bitch managed to lay eggs into my throat, to which must have causing the discomfort. After managing to collect myself, I called an exterminator and set a date for him to come and deal with those little bastards. And when I went to the hospital, cost be damned. Luckily, there was no serious damage except to my psyche, and I lucked out and the exterminator was able to get to my house earlier than planned. So yeah, I fucking hate tacos.